Queen Victoria's fascinating life. She was the face of the greatest empire in human history. Her name defined an entire era of British manners, industrial revolutions, and global expansion. But behind the stern, black-clad portraits of Queen Victoria lies the story of isolation, intense romance, bizarre rules, and genetic curses that reshaped the world. Today, we're breaking down 30 facts you didn't know about Britain's most iconic queen. Section 1. The Unexpected Heir. Fact 1. Let's start with a shocker. Victoria was not supposed to become queen. She was born 5th in line to the throne. In comparison, that's like Prince Harry today. But the deaths of her uncles, William IV and George IV, this is William IV, the one I just showed you, completely cleared the path to become the queen at the time she was just 11. Fact 2. Even her iconic name wasn't even her choice. She was christened Alexandrina Victoria. She was named after her godfather, Tsar Alexander I of Russia. As a child, her family did not call her Victoria at all. She went by her nickname, Drina. Fact 3. Her childhood was no fairy tale, like people would expect. Her overprotective mother and a manipulative advisor, Sir John Conroy. By the way, this is her mother, Duchess Victoria of Kent. Yes, and a manipulative advisor named Sir John Conroy trapped her in the Kensington system. This was a brutal set of rules. 1. She was forbidden walking downstairs without holding someone's hand. She was never allowed to sleep in a room alone, and was completely isolated from other children. Section 2. Her reign has started. I'm trying to find her coronation portrait and it won't come up. I'm allowed to do this. Her reign has started. That brings us to the day of her liberation. The exact day she became queen at age 18, she demanded 2 things immediately: an hour by herself and to have her bed moved out of her mother's bedroom permanently. Talk about taking control. Fact 5. Despite her massive historical presence, she was physically tiny. Victoria stood at 4 feet tall, 11 inches tall. Or Victoria's the same height as me. I'm so happy about myself. I'm so proud of myself. Fact 6. She was also a trendsetter for royal living. Victoria was the first British monarch to use Buckingham Palace as her official royal residence. Moving into the building 3 weeks after her reign had started. Fact 7. When it came to marriage, Victoria had to break tradition. Because she was the reigning monarch, royal protocol strictly dictated that no one could propose to her. So in 1839, she took matters into her own hands and popped the question to her first cousin, Prince Albert, or Saxe Gotha. Here's a picture of her marriage. This is her wedding portrait with Prince Albert. Fact 8. On her wedding day, she inadvertently changed global fashion forever. Before Victoria, brides simply wore their best dress, regardless of the colour. Her choice of a white silk satin gown sparked a massive global tradition that survives to this day. Fact 9. While she loved her husband, she absolutely loathed the consequence of marriage. By having 9 children, she hated being pregnant, calling it the shadow side of marriage. She openly admitted she found newborns ugly, writing they were mere little plants for the first 6 months. This hatred led her to become a medical pioneer, Victoria insisted on using a new drug called chloroform during the birth of her 8th and 9th children, instantly popularising the use of anaesthetics during childbirth worldwide. As her family grew, she earned a famous nickname, the Grandmother of Europe. Victoria strategically married her 42 children, into royal families across the continent. By the time World War I broke out, her grandchildren literally sat on the throne of Britain, Germany, Russia, Spain, Greece, Norway and Romania. Fact 12. But this widespread family tree came with a devastating dark side. Haemophilia. It stops your blood from clotting, and it's passed genetically. This disease is why people say Victoria was illegitimate, because it didn't show in royal bloodlines before Victoria. She was a carrier of this disease. She passed it down through her daughters, devastating royal houses of Europe, and it was the downfall of the Russian Romanov family, which was the family of her namesake, Alexander I. Alexander I of Russia. Through all of this, Albert was her rock. He wasn't just a husband, he acted as her full-time political advisor and private secretary, helping her review state papers and guiding directly through British foreign policy. Section 4. Rule, Survival, and Empire. Fact 14. Ruling the world's largest empire made her a target. Victoria survived the staggering 8 assassination attempts. Various attackers shot at her or threw objects at her carriage, but she famously refused to use bulletproof features, believing her subjects would protect her. Ironically, her most famous quote is a myth. The phrase, "we are not amused," is, universally attributed to her, but Victoria later insisted she never said it, describing herself as a cheerful person who loves a good laugh. She was also incredibly smart and spoke multiple languages, including English, German, French, Italian. She even learned to write Hindustani. Fact 17. In 1851, Victoria and Albert opened the Great Exhibition, which was at the Crystal Palace. Here's a picture of the Crystal Palace, by the way, if you didn't know what it looked like. The world's very first World Fair, and Victoria opened it inside the I don't know how to say that. I've already mentioned that bit. Fact 18. Her power peaked in 1876 when Parliament officially agreed and granted her the title Empress of India. This made her the ultimate symbol of an empire that covered a quarter of the globe, even though she never actually visited India. Fact 19. How do we know so much about her thoughts? Because she was a passionate diarist. Victoria wrote an estimated 60 million words during her lifetime. Because of this, we know about her life through her journals, which have been found in her grave. Her imperial status has even changed her household. Later in life, she formed a close professional bond with an Indian servant named Abdul Karim, known as the Munshi. He served as her personal clerk, taught her art Urdu, keeping her deeply connected to the Indian territories. Fact 21. But the glory of her empire couldn't protect her from heartbreak when Prince Albert died of typhoid fever in 1861 at only 2 years old. Victoria sank into a catastrophic depression. She wore black mourning clothes for the remaining 42 years of her life. This is her wearing her famous mourning attire. Her grief borderlined on obsession. For decades after his death, she ordered servants to bring hot water for Albert's morning shave and lay out his clothes every single day, treating his room like a ghost capsule. Fact 23. While she mourned, society evolved. The Victorian era saw massive labour shifts, including the Factory Act of 1867, which gave workers Saturday afternoons off, effectively birthing the modern concept of the weekend. Fact 24. In 1897, she reached an unprecedented milestone, becoming the first British monarch to celebrate her Diamond Jubilee, marking 6 years on the throne with global celebrations. Yet, despite being the world's most powerful person on earth, she was no feminist. Victoria fiercely opposed to the women's suffrage movement, calling the fight for women's right to vote a mad, wicked folly. Her death and legacy. Fact 26. As her life neared its end, Victoria left strict, highly specific instructions for her burial. Tired of the darkness, she banned the traditional black funeral, ordering people to wear white instead. Fact 27. She was buried with deep secrets. She ordered her doctor secretly place Albert's dressing gown and a plaster cast of his hand inside her coffin, so she could rest with his memory forever. When she finally passed away at age 81 in 1901, she had reigned for exactly 63 years, 7 months and 2 days, the longest in British history ever. Her death marks the end of the historic House of Hanover, passing the crown to her son Edward VII and ushering in a new dynastic era. Today, her name is literally stamped across the globe, from Victoria Falls, Africa, to entire states in Australia and cities in Canada. The legacy of the girl who wasn't meant to be queen remains permanently mapped into our modern world. Which of these facts reminded you most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more history breakdowns. I might do another one about the life of Queen Elizabeth II. If you wanted to know, this is what it's going to be very big, her family tree, because she had 9 children, 42 grandchildren, so on. I don't want to explain it. I actually can't find a picture. To do this. Comment which monarch I should do after Queen Elizabeth II. I can't find her family tree. I'll show you that next video. Her successor. After Queen Victoria, it went Edward VII, George V, Edward VIII, George VI, Queen Elizabeth II, and the current King, Charles III. Thank you for watching this video. I recommend Lindsay Holiday to doing this, because this is where I got all these facts from.